Thanks, Lindia. So colleagues, can I ask you, because we are not going to, we were not planning to take introductions. So can I ask people to please use the chat facility just to write a note about themselves so that we can see where you're from and what you do in the context in which you work. So if you don't mind using that facility, then we can at least see where and who are actually present in the room. The second thing is we're going to ask people to keep their audios on mute, and we will have a session open for people to ask questions, and we can have a little bit of a discussion. So if I can just introduce our speakers, who's going to provide some short inputs for the event. Our first speaker, and I will go as I introduce them. So the first person to speak is our colleague, David Harrington, who is based in Malawi, and who is the regional director of Southern Africa. So he works with our colleagues in adult education in South Africa, Mozambique, and Malawi. So David will be doing the welcome for us. And it is actually quite special to have him do this, because David happens to be, Moja has been, if I may say, the brainchild of David. So he has been thinking deeply about the platform. So we want to commend him and recognize the role that he has played in getting Moja off the ground. So I'm going to ask David to welcome everybody. Over to you, David.
Okay, thanks very much, Ivor. A very nice introduction. I have to say, Moja is the baby of many people and the brainchild of many people in both within DVV International, where I work, and also amongst other colleagues. Thank you. I've been given the task to welcome all of you here today. You're all most welcome on this special day, International Literacy Day. And it's a special day also for Moja, where we look forward to this training, this online training. Moja was conceived for a few different reasons, but one of the founding ideas or principles really in Moja was that, you know, I speak as I'm from Ireland. I speak as a white European person, but I've worked many years in this region of Africa and in adult education. And we see that when we want to do something with adult education, the tendency historically is always to look outside Africa and get what are they doing in Europe, even in terms of the materials and texts that we get them from Europe and America and Australia and Canada and wherever. And that's fine, but it's sort of, should it be like this? Are we not doing great things within Africa for many decades, yet we're looking outside? And there's also the question, if the materials that come from the other side of the world, are they really culturally appropriate, or the ideas that come from other sides of the world? We can learn from everyone everywhere, but shouldn't we first look, you know, to our neighbors before we start looking into other countries? So that's one of the basic ideas with Moja, was to say, let's look at what we have here in the rich and diverse history and expertise that we see in African countries. Now, acknowledging that that exists, at the same time, we saw that one of the challenges was that very often we were reinventing the wheel. When I want to do something here in Malawi or in Mozambique, am I taking advantage? Am I looking to my colleagues in Zambia and Tanzania and South Africa and even other African countries to see, what are you doing? Have you done this before? Have you developed a curriculum? Have you developed a university course? Have you developed a national strategy or a policy for adult education? And there was really, what we found was that there's a great deal of reinventing the wheel. That we're sort of starting from scratch everywhere and not really learning from one another. And, you know, there are many reasons for this. And one of the reasons being Africa is a huge continent with huge countries within it, with different languages, different cultures, distances apart. We can't always be together to share experiences. But Moja, it's online, it's digital, it closes that distance. If somebody in the north, east, west, south, or central Africa, we can be in touch. We must make use of these technologies that are unfortunately not available to everybody. But for those of us who are lucky enough to have them, we have this opportunity. We can really be in touch with our peers and our colleagues and like-minded people from all over the continent. So that was really a part of the original thinking, that we needed to capitalize on what exists in Africa and recognize what exists. And you know, I'm amazed at always seeing the great projects and great you know, publications and great ideas that are coming from different countries. But we hope through Moja we can create a tool and a channel by which we can better share these examples and our experiences. And really the idea is to help to develop the African community for adult education, to bring people closer together. And today is a special day because my colleague Gerhard, who will follow, will talk about the adult learning and education system building approach more that we're here today to launch. But this is something that we've been doing mostly offline, and this is really something special that today we're launching an online course with our colleague Sonia as well, and that we can present something that has been developed over a number of years. As I say, I don't want to talk too much about this because Gerhard will give you more information on this, but it's something that is very, very special, that all of us in DVV International and colleagues, we have worked a lot on this over the years, some of us even more than others. And it's really a pleasure to be able to bring it to more people and to see it reaching more people through digital means. You know, it's something we need to catch up on. There's the digital technologies are changing so quickly every day and every year. So we struggle to keep up with them and to learn how to make best use of them, but we're learning and we're getting there. So look, I just want to say to wrap up and not take too much time, is that Moja is this community. If you haven't visited the platform, if you're new, you're very welcome. Please go and explore the platform, the website for yourself, see what's there. And please subscribe, because when you subscribe, you put your name, it's free of charge. There's no charge at all whatsoever with Moja. You put your name, please put some information about yourself. What is your area, particular area of expertise? And then other members, other subscribers can go and they can see, oh, here's somebody in Mozambique or Tunisia or Togo or wherever you may be, and that this person is working in this field and I'm interested in this field, so I can reach out to that person. Or I want to do some work in this field, I can reach out to that person and find out how they did it and what they're doing. You know, and Moja is yours. Moja is not, there's no Moja, it doesn't belong to one organization or one person or one group. Moja is for all adult educators and all people interested in adult education within Africa. And it will be as dynamic and as vibrant as our own participation. So please do go there, contribute. You have the possibilities to upload your information about your events, about what your publications, your whatever you're involved in. You can share it through this means. It links out to social media through Facebook and YouTube and all the channels. And it really will help to build this adult education community, because as we know, adult education is often the forgotten part of education. It's not the priority area in most countries. So we must fight and we must work together that adult education gets more visibility and more recognition. And, you know, it's my hope that Moja can really be a contribution towards this. So in conclusion, I just want to say thank you very much, all of you, for participating today. And you're most welcome to this launch, and you're most welcome to Moja. And I hope to get to know all of you better over time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I will share during the session in the chat, I will share and upload the guide for people who are interested to upload materials onto the Moja platform. So look out for that. And even if you don't get it, please let us know and we can gladly share that with you. But thanks, David. So before we hand over to Gerard, we want to introduce a very short video clip, and I'm going to ask Lindia to play this short clip for us, and then I'll introduce Gerard. Thanks.
Is there supposed to be sound, Ivor?
Yes, there's supposed to be sound. Lydia, can we maybe just try again? Yeah, this is the difficulty with technology, you know, it was working early on.
No,
for some reason.
Yeah, I was muted, so we'll try again. Apologies for that.
Thanks, Lydia.
Ultimately, Monday.com has been a real game changer for our business.
These are real. Ivor, you on mute?
Sorry, thanks, Farrell. Now, I was just saying that we will be placing that video clip on the Moja platform and on the platform where the course will be running from, perhaps with a slightly slower speed, because I could see it was a bit rushed. But thanks, Lindia. So our next speaker, colleagues, is Gerard. Now Gerard has two pronunciations of his name. The one is the German pronunciation, Quinke, but we often call him by his other African name, Gerard Trink. It's a very nice Xhosa pronunciation of his German name. Welcome, Gerard. And Gerard is our senior desk officer based in Bonn. And he is responsible for overseeing the work of DVV International in Northern and Southern Africa. But he also has deep roots in West Africa. So he's very familiar with the continent. And we've asked Gerard to say a few words about the ALESBA program. So Gerard, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. And you should not forget my East African roots as well, as I still have one leg in Ethiopia and of course family in Central Africa and Cameroon. So that is important to me, of course. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, colleagues. When I see the audience in the chat, I think most of them are really colleagues from the adult education area. And on behalf of DVV International here in Bonn, I want to greet you. And I was asked to give a short note on the rationale of adult education system building approach, what we have not only been promoting, but it is now the core element of our general work in all over the continent and has been approved by our funding agency already since 4 years. And the rationale of the work for system building is our experience and what we learned in the year, now it's more 50 years where DVV International has been working for adult education all over the world with a special focus on Africa. And today, as we are celebrating the World Literacy Day, we see again alarming figures, for instance, from UNDP, stating that for a time now, the human development indicators are going down in some countries. And especially when it comes to education and the access to education and also to literacy, in some countries, it's alarming. More and more kids and youngsters have no access and have had no access to education at all, leave alone training. So more and more it's clear that non-formal approaches to education and training are getting more important than ever. Unfortunately, at the same time, as you all know, that is not accompanied by more finance and the more allocation of resources for that sector. So what can we do? And the other element is from our experience in collaboration with adult education ministries, with civil society, is how can we improve the delivery of AL services in quantitative terms, where we need governments or other stakeholders to invest, but also in qualitative terms. And it became so clear for us that we need all stakeholders who could contribute. And the concept that we'll explain to you later on of horizontal integration of adult education systems, meaning across the sectors, and vertical integration, meaning involving all sectors and layers of governance, is very much important. So for us, it's very clear that a system building approach, a comprehensive holistic approach is very much needed. And we are happy that recently in Confintea, when you go through the Marrakesh framework for action, this has been very much recognized. And so we think we are on the right track. And it's not only for Africa, I can tell you, in the headquarters of DVV International, others are watching with big interest what we are doing with you colleagues on the African continent in order to make adult education a more systematic thing involving all other sectors and layers of governance. I want to thank David Harrington for the introduction. And I can tell you on behalf of DVV International, of course, we have the support of our main donor agency, which is the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. We want to do everything what we can to facilitate the process and to facilitate Moja to become bigger and more important, but we will not want to own it. As David has correctly said, you are the ones to own it, and we want really that more and more the instrument can be used by you. And so congratulations to the whole team of Moja. Congratulations already in advance to the trainer who will now present what is one of an example of that Moja is a platform for information, exchange, and also for learning. So that is something which will start today. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward for that presentation and have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much, Gerard. I'm going to hand over to Sonia now. And of course, Sonia Belete, who is based in Ethiopia, but she's currently in South Africa at the moment, who has been assigned the role to run this particular program, the ALESBA program for us. Sonia obviously is a very well-seasoned adult educator, and she has a long history of work in the field. And she's also responsible for the person who has written these different booklets that constitute the entire ALESBA program, so to speak. So Sonia has been assigned to run this program for us over the next 14 weeks. And I'm going to ask Sonia to provide us with an overview. We know that there are lots of people who signed up for the program, almost 50 of them. And we know that there are some celebrations taking place all over the continent. And so we decided not to start the actual program today, but to just start with an overview, which Sonia will now provide us with. Thanks, Sonia. Over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. And also David, Gerard, for giving me such a good background to do the overview. What I'm doing today is really just an overview because there's so much information to share. And I hope you registered because of the reasons I'm going to present. So please allow me to share my screen and give you a small snapshot until we start the course next week. Oh, there we go. I trust everybody can see my screen. Okay.
Yes, we can.
So I'm going to give you, as I said, a small snapshot. And I think by now you may know what the ALESBA stands for. It's the Adult Learning and Education System Building Approach. So we use the terminology ALE since adult education has been rebranded, and this is now a common terminology. So we incorporated it in the ALESBA. And general overview, who is the target group for the course? And I'm really happy when I looked through the registration list and I saw who registered, it's exactly whom we had in mind. So whether you are a practitioner, academic, a field worker, a manager in different capacities, in different sectors working with ALE, we believe you are the right target group to help us to build systems. And as Gerard said, the need just gets bigger every day. So the target group of the course is people who really work in the field, and it can be at different levels and different sectors dealing with adult education. The course itself is divided into 3 rounds, and we thought we need a break between every round. Otherwise, you might drop out much sooner, which we hope you won't do at all. So it's a three rounds course. The total number of sessions of the course is 40. So please don't get a shock already, because we divided it in smaller pieces. So round 1, which is this year in 2022, has 14 sessions. That means 1 session per week, so 14 weeks. Round 2 is also 14 sessions, and that will only take place next year after you had a good break. And then round 3 is 12 sessions, also next year. In each round, we are planning to do a series of webinars, because we think course participants may want to share what they've learned beyond the participant group, with your colleagues in your own organization, with other stakeholders, because that adds value in bringing more stakeholders on board. You will be required to at least give 2 hours per week to attend the session. And the assignments vary. Some weeks it's very small assignments, might be just a reading activity. Other weeks there's a group activity in countries, which might take about 4 hours of your time, just to give you an idea. The delivery modality of the course, it is live sessions, but we are also recording all the sessions. And in case you couldn't be in a session because of work responsibility, or you just want to review what you've already attended, the sessions will be recorded and you'll be able to access them on our learning management system for the course. And my colleague Lindia will talk about that in more detail. The course, of course, has a facilitator, as Ivor said, but I hope not to just be the only person talking. We will also have guest speakers. There will be group work. You will have time to discuss, to debate, present your assignments based on your own country context. And we plan to use some interesting online media techniques. You will sometimes show your own little videos. We have animation and games in the plan as well, to make the visual experience a bit more interactive. The main course materials for the ALESBA online course is the 6 ALESBA booklets, and you can download those from the Moja website as well as the DVV International website, and they will be on the learning management system. And I know in many countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, I suspect Tanzania, South Africa, these booklets have been printed as well, so you can contact the DVV International offices and get a hard copy or the series of hard copies if you wish to do so. In addition, there will be from time to time handouts, case studies, and additional material that we hope you can use to implement the ALESBA in your countries. The method of assessment of the course, it will be mostly a participatory assessment, which we will do at the end of each round. The Moja colleagues will join me and the participants will give their views. But your assignments will also be assessed as we go through the process. And participants who completed a round and all the rounds will obviously get certification from the Moja. And for that, you'll have to at least finish all the assignments and attend about 90% of the courses, either live or catching it up from the recorded sessions. The rationale for the course, I think Garrett already explained this very well, so I will not give too much detail. But the course, the reasons behind this course is that we can give an opportunity to build the capacity of course participants to undertake ALE system building in your own countries, be a change maker in your own countries, that you'll be able to design and implement a conscious system building process, knowing where you start and where you want to end with the process, with all the relevant stakeholders in the country. And by so doing, hopefully improve the ALE service delivery to reach these numbers that we are currently not reaching with quality services to adults and youth. The course objectives, I'm summarizing a course objective for each of the main booklets. So the first one, by the end of the course, participants will be able to not only explain and contextualize ALESBA's approach and a framework, but really implement it in your country context. You'll be taken through all the phases from there onwards. So the first phase, after completing that section, you'll be able to design and facilitate a process of consensus building with diverse stakeholders in your country. You'll be able to design and implement demand, that's from the learners, as well as supply side, from people, the service delivery, the organization side, to design and implement an assessment on the current status of ALE in your country and find out what are the blockages and challenges. So this is almost like our baseline to know where we are. From there onwards, the next phase will take you through a process where stakeholders can consider alternatives for redesigning the system towards optimized service delivery. So you will find that all the processes and tools to do that will be presented in the course. The same with phase 4, which is guiding the pilot implementation and testing of a new redesign system. Once again, you'll get the tools and processes to do that. And finally, to design and implement the review, adjustment, and upscaling of an improved system. This, of course, takes place over time, and the course will take you through the tools to do so. A quick overview of the 3 rounds. So each round of the ALESBA deal with 2 ALESBA booklets. So round 1, which is the round that starts next week, has 14 sessions and 2 webinars, a webinar for each booklet. And we call that round Introduction to the ALESBA and Building Consensus Among Stakeholders for ALE System Building. These are the first 2 ALESBA booklets, Introduction to the Approach and Toolkit, and Phase 1 Consensus Building. Round 2, as I said, that starts next year. Again, 14 sessions, 2 webinars. And round 2 is about ALE system assessment and diagnosis to consider alternatives for improved system redesign. So a very practical session once again that helps you to assess systems from both quantitative and qualitative perspectives and move to the process of designing an improved system. Round 3, 12 sessions, 2 webinars, the final 2 booklets in the ALESBA series, which will guide you through the implementation and testing of this new system that you designed with stakeholders in round 2, before you can review, adjust, and upscale it maybe throughout the country or for more target group. So the 3 rounds cover all the booklets. Let's zoom in a little bit on round 1, which is the immediate course that's starting. So round 1 is the introduction to the ALESBA and building consensus, as I already said. So the 14 sessions, the first 7 deals with the introductory booklet, and the first session, Getting Started, which is next week, that will give you a lot of practical information. We will go through all the technology and things you need to know. We will introduce ourselves to each other. So it's really a getting started session and a very important one because it will give you the foundation to go through the course. The next session, Setting the Scene, is focusing on contextualizing your own context from your country, contextualizing ALESBA to your own context. So you'll have a beginning for all the assignments which will be done in your own context. Session 3 gives more background, the rationale, and the key concepts and principles of the ALESBA, which will carry us through all the sessions, because there are certain principles and concepts we adhere to. Then session 4 is almost, I want to say, make or break session, because you have to understand the ALESBA conceptual framework in order to apply it. So session 4 focuses on that framework. Session 5 will give you the tools to define the scope of the ALE system in your countries and the roles of different stakeholders, so that in session 6, we look at how do you apply the framework to that context. And session 7 will give you an overview of the 5 phases of the ALESBA. So that is really, booklet 1 gives a good foundation for the startup. Then the second booklet, phase 1, starts with session 8, which will give you an overview of consensus building. And consensus building among stakeholders is not just for the beginning. We need that through all the phases of ALESBA. Otherwise, we will not have a group of stakeholders that can implement improved adult learning and education services. So the first session is the introduction. Session 9 is looking at what kind of preparatory activities do we have to do before we start with consensus building. And session 10 then looks at your startup steps. Session 11, the practical application of those startup steps to build consensus. It's not always easy to build consensus among stakeholders, so we really have to look at different strategies and techniques of how we could bring more stakeholders on board and create an environment where they can cooperate. So session 12 is a stakeholders analysis, which will guide us through tools to really analyze what are the roles of different stakeholders. And if each stakeholder plays their role, how does that feed into our consensus building process? And session 13 talks about how do we take consensus building through all the ALESBA phases, right up to the end where we upscale and improve system. Round session 14 then is, of course, the conclusion of round 1, and we'll do, as I said before, a reflection and the assessment before we do the webinar for phase 1, where we share our learning insights with more stakeholders and colleagues. I conclude with a few practical notes. So the first session starts next week, Thursday. It's a 2-hour session, as I already mentioned. And from the participants that registered, I just put the time slots so that we don't get confused. And you can please double check me as well. So for South Africa and Malawi, Southern Africa participants, it's from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. For East Africa, and we have colleagues from Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania joining, that will mean 3 to 5. The West Africa colleagues, that will mean 12 to 2, and Tunisia, 1 to 3. So at least not in a midnight session that we will require from you. As I said, it's 2 hours. We'll do it live, but there will be recorded sessions as well. The assignments I already mentioned. And so it will be consecutively every Thursday. The final session of round 1 is on the 15th of December. So at least before Christmas, you can have a break. And we anticipate round 2 may start around February to May 2023, round 3 around July to September 2023. And I'll hand over to Lindia, who will take you through the learning management system and the way we will use Zoom for these sessions. Thank you so much. I hope you will enjoy us on this journey of system building.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. Now, the materials, and we do want people to ask questions of clarification if they have. But what we would like to do now is just to help colleagues understand where some of the materials are currently located. So Lindia is going to first show us, for those of us who may not know or may have not had the chance to go onto the platform to find the course materials and so on, because it is on the digital platform itself. And then the second thing that Lindia will do is to take us to the platform, the Moodle site where the materials will be located, and she will explain to us how this would work, because nobody has access to the course on the Moodle platform as yet. So she will give us a brief overview of how that process will unfold. Thanks, Lindia. Over to you.
Lindia, you're muted.
I always forget about being muted. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to take you through just the Moja site. And I'm sure that most of you have already been on the Moja site and explored it a little bit. Can you see my screen? There's it shared. Okay, so to find information about the ALESBA course currently, you go to the courses link tab, and then we have a little bit of background. Here's where you can find all the ALESBA booklets. We're going to be dealing, as Sonia earlier indicated, the first phase is going to be looking at the introduction to the approach and toolkit, and then also the phase 1 consensus building. So this is where you can download that. And then as well as just an outline at the bottom here, you can have an outline of the course. And then we have some other information there. So I hope that you do go and explore the Mojo website, the platform, but that you would also promote it in your networks. We do have resources. I know I'm not supposed to plug it now, but we do. You can come here and find some useful resources for adult educators and so forth. And then we also do look at putting on some current issues that is happening in the AL field as well. So I'm going to take you through now to the learner management system. If you'll just give me a moment, bear with me to share that. Let me just see. Okay, are we on the, can you see my screen? Am I on the?
You're on the Mojo. Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Here
okay.
we know.
So now this is the learner management system. So basically it is the space where we are going to be putting all the course content, announcements, assignments, any of the resources and notes that you may need. It's also a space where you can go and upload your assignment. I don't know if anyone here has heard about Moodle, but it's based on the Moodle platform. And you would have to register to be able to access the course. You can see we've already started to populate the ALESBA course. So you can see already there, you can download the first booklet, the approach. There's also already an assignment waiting for you. We will be populating more of this course. So within the next week, what we're going to be doing is we'll be sending out a communication that will indicate where and how you can register on the platform, and then also enroll yourself in the course. And we'll also be sending out some links that you can, video links that you can already be working through to familiarize yourself around how to navigate around the platform. So this platform also does have a mobile application that you can download onto your smartphone. And so next week during the first session, we'll also be looking at, you know, how to do that, and also working with you through some of the, through the platform and how you can access it and so forth. I'm going to stop sharing this now. The platform that for all the sessions, the online sessions will be conducted on the Zoom platform. And I think people here, we're already on Zoom, so people are familiar with Zoom. And I think that Sonia's indicated that within that first next week, when we have our first session, we'll also be looking at creating guidelines of how we will interact on the platform and use the platform. So I'm going to stop there, because I think that, you know, the technical stuff, once we practically get into it, you know, you may have some questions, whatever, so you can reach out to me or anyone in the ALESBA Moja team if you have any questions or need any support, and you can just let us know. So I'll hand back to Ivor.
Yeah, thanks, Lindia. So just to reiterate, some information about the registration will follow. I think it will be with you by Monday, so that you can then register. And the process is actually quite simple. So it's not a complicated process at all. And what we will always do for every session, we will spend maybe about 10 minutes, not more than that, or even less, on any kind of technical support that people may require if they have difficulties. And I think for those of us who are familiar with the Moodle platform would know that there's a really nice facility available to people that they can use. It's the forum facility on the Moodle platform that will allow people to post questions and to start discussions with each other, and people can read it offline and then respond. So that facility is available, and we will spend some time to familiarize people with that particular facility to see how we can use it. But of course, as Lindia is saying, the most important part is always the contact time with each other online, face-to-face, so that we can discuss with each other and to find the best possible ways to make it as interactive as possible. One of the difficulties for us, the challenges for us with these online platforms is, a lot of us as adult educators like to be with each other together in one room, because that's the nature of our practice, which we share, and we need to find ways. And we also want to learn from you if you have any other suggestions as we go through the program to make it more participatory, more interactive. Please share those kinds of ideas with us. So colleagues, so you will hear from us by Monday, and we're hoping that our other colleagues who are unable to join us for whatever reason today will get back onto the platform by next week when we have the first session. Sorry, I can see there's someone just joining us right now. So at this moment, I want to at least allow some questions of clarification. If there's anybody who has a question about the course in particular, please, you are welcome to raise those kinds of questions now, either in the chat, or you can show your hand and we will give you a chance to speak. Lindia, you just have to help me see if there's anybody wanting to raise a question.
Okay, maybe we can ask people who have joined to introduce themselves in the chat room, please.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. Sorry, I've just joined in now. I'm on the road, but my name is Dr. Herino Tieno. I am the founder of EduTalk Afrique Radio, which is an online education radio, for Pan-African online education radio. I'm excited to join briefly because tomorrow we'll be hosting a show to celebrate International Literacy Day, and part of the focus of our conversation will be on adult literacy in Africa. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to draw more from the conversation today.
Yeah, thank you. And please do share whatever you produce on the digital platform, on the platform with us as well. We would like to distribute and share that information with our colleagues on the continent. Any other person? If you want
hello.
Okay.
My name is Shola Wayoga, based in Dar es Salaam, working with Tanzania Education Network as a national coordinator, and I've enrolled on that course. But I just want to pick up from the course content, especially on phase 1. Is there any element to do with financing of adult education during that particular course? And if so, what would be the coverage? Over to you.
Thanks, Chola. Can I take 2 more questions? And then, so Sonia, will you note those, please?
Yeah, I do.
Are there any, maybe 2 more questions, and then we can go for a second round? Okay, Sonia, perhaps you can respond to Chola's question.
Yes, thank you, Ochola. You will see when you start already in booklet 1, the introduction of the ALESBA. The ALESBA approach has a conceptual framework which consists of 20 system building blocks. And one of those building blocks is about budget allocation for ALE. And so that means that component runs right through all the sessions because it's a core building block within the system. So we deal with it through all the phases. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you very much. Noted. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, are there any other questions? Okay, so it doesn't look like there are any burning questions, Sonia. Okay, there is Francis. I see Francis has his hand up. Francis, please go ahead. Francis, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I want to applaud you for such a wonderful program where we are focusing on an adult education. And the adult education learner being one of the previously sidelined learners due to other reasons, and looking also on most of the developmental careers in life, they look at young people up to the age of 35. In the adult learner, there's no motivation. Number one, is there any question, is there any program or intervention to motivate the adult learner to be considered even in the place of employment? Because most of the time, in terms of funding, they are sidelined. Number two, in terms of the fourth industrial revolution, from the educator to the learner, do we have programs in place that can empower them? Because that's one of the areas development is moving and is coming, but we have seen that most of these things, these programs cater for the young, and no one is investing more in the adult. The adult are the ones, some of them might be in the working class, but they are not fully equipped to use the gadgets. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Sonia, do you want to address that question?
Let me just give a quick feedback. Yeah, thank you, Francis. The ALESBA looks at ALE in the context of your country. So we will already in the first round and in the first booklets, you will go through an exercise where you define the scope of ALE in your country. So that means who is the target group, what kind of services is currently being rendered, where are the gaps? And then as we continue through the course, you will do an assessment on your system and these kind of gaps. If the system currently do not address the needs of the target group you just mentioned, or with the right type of services focusing, for example, on economic empowerment, you will go through the processes with other stakeholders, find out the gaps and redesign and improve system. So on the way, it is addressed within the bigger picture of a holistic system, not just piecemeal actions. I hope that answers.
Yeah, if I could perhaps just also add to Sonia's response, I think Francis is based in South Africa, and the issue of the fourth industrial revolution is very much in the focus in the South African context. And I think, Francis, issues like that might be very useful for someone like yourself to share within the space so that people can learn from your experience in South Africa and how programs then would emerge that speaks to the fourth industrial revolution. So I think one has to look at how your experience in a South African context can contribute and stimulate discussions with colleagues in other parts of the continent. And I think this is the beauty of both the ALESBA program and the fact that we are engaging each other who are working in so many different contexts. So I think you've got to think about how you bring those conversations into the discussions around systems building. Are there any other questions, colleagues? See, Lucas has joined us. I'm just looking out if there are any other questions that people want to ask, or perhaps just a comment. Okay, it looks like I think we were either very clear, Sonia, or very unclear. So I'm going to take it that it was very clear and simple English. So what I'm going to do now, if there's no burning question, I want to hand over to Farrell Hunter, who is our colleague at DVV and currently housing Moja in Cape Town. Farrell is the country director of DVV International in South Africa, and the Moja team works directly with him and of course with David Harrington. So I'm going to hand over to Farrell now to close, make closing remarks for us.
Thank you, Ivor, and good afternoon from my side as well, colleagues. What can I say? The journey has begun. I think we have taken a significant step today in the launch of the ALESBA online course, and I think, as was already mentioned by both Gerhard and David and other colleagues, it's been a bit of a road to get to this point. We've been hard at work, developing the Moja as a digital platform, and then of course to expand the potential that of course the platform can offer. And so I think we certainly look forward to the participation of nearly 50 people who have registered to attend the online course, and I think that's quite significant. We shouldn't sneeze at that. And I think, the whole idea is to exploit the potential that, this online opportunity for this course offers. I mean, as Ivor was also saying, for many of us, we really like the face-to-face approaches, but of course, COVID forced us to think differently. But also already before that, I think, Sonia, it's true that we were already thinking about what the potential for online approaches are, because for us, multimodal blended approaches are certainly what we see as necessary and important. So I'm pleased we've taken this as another step along the road, as an important one as it is. And then, of course, to as the name says, to build the potential and as comprehensively as possible of adult education systems on the continent. And I think also it was Francis who mentioned and started to refer to the gaps that exist. And I think this is exactly the point, is to try and identify collectively, at a country level, but, when we're engaging locally, but the potential now to engage across the continent on these are, is crucially important. And again, I think I want to reiterate the message by both, again, Gerhard and David, about the fact that participating shows also that those who are coming online, but just generally the digital platform is really, for all African adult educators and others who work in the field to participate, contribute, and, support the efforts that we have started, some time ago now. So again, thanks to all the colleagues, from the Moja team who've helped to get us to this point, and the launch today, Lindia, Ivor, Sonia, David, of course, and Gerhard sitting in Bonn. That's where you find yourself at the moment. We're talking about where we all are located differently. And so we look forward to the kickoff, Sonia, and all the best. And of course, as Ivor indicated earlier on, any questions by any of the participants, let us know, and do spread the word that Moja is a platform for all of us, to your colleagues in your respective countries. And then to also say lastly, enjoy and celebrate International Literacy Day as we do today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Farrell. Colleagues, just one last question. We don't have to do this now, but we would ask whether people would be comfortable to share contact details in case people want to get in touch with each other. We, of course, have everybody who have registered participating in this event. We have people's contact details, and we can make that available if people feel comfortable with that. We don't have to make that decision today, but we could perhaps consider exchanging details next week when the group gets together. So I'm going to then just encourage people to return next week for the session, because officially we will kick off the ALESBA course next week on Thursday with Sonia. And we are really looking forward to everybody who joined us this afternoon, and those who couldn't make it today to join us for the session starting next Thursday. So thank you very much for joining us. And we really looking forward to not only, as everybody prior to myself said, to build the Moja family, to build the platform, and to use the ALESBA program as one mechanism that can help us build solidarity, cooperation, work together with each other across in the field of adult education to build efficient systems that can work to the benefit of our citizens. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ivor.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank-
See you next
Bye.
Thank you, Sonia. Can you even drop me the date for next week? I'm missing it, please.
On Thursday. Are you not receiving the emails that we are sending out?
Not necessarily at the moment.
Oh, okay. Can you drop your email address for me in the comment section? Then I'll make sure to add it.
It's in
Thank
the
you
chat
very
box.
much.
Okay.
Was that Olila Stephen? I think so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Olila Steven. I'm connecting from northern Uganda. Yeah, I joined a bit late. I had technical glitches on our network here. You know, I'm in a remote area.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to be early next week.
Okay,
Thanks, Olila.
Olila. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I see some people are just someone like Andrew has just joined us. So we've got to make sure around the time that people, I'm not sure whether there's a time issue or whether it's just a connectivity issue, but I see he's just joined now. So I think it's sometimes it has to do with, you know, this time literacy issue is confuses people sometimes, you know, get times wrong.
Okay, colleagues, I'm going to jump off the platform. I will and just speak to you later.
Right.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay, everybody. Take
Okay.
care. Bye.
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 Okay, bye.